Howdy, 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 my name is Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we did The Gayest Man Alive, which I still haven't determined why it feels like I've read that before. I can only assume it's because I did and just don't remember when or why. So, in this episode, we're going to start with the special personnel requirements, and I wish I could say we're going to make it to a harmless kitten, but I sort of doubt we're going to make it to a harmless kitten because most of these sound like they're going to be large entries. So let's check out those special personnel requirements. Well, it's Keter class, so I guess I gotta use the serious Keter voice. Item SCP-231-7, see addendum regarding 1 through 6. Under special order of 05 blank, the following addendum is attached to the beginning of the file for SCP-231-7. All personnel assigned to 231-7 must rotate out for 1 month of psychological counseling after 2 months on site. 7 is to be kept at an undisclosed location. All personnel assigned to 231 will be transported there blindfolded from Site 19 by a route including no fewer than 7 different forms of transportation, including but not limited to aircraft, automobile, underground tunnel, and blank. Removal of the blindfold during the transportation process is grounds for immediate termination. Personnel assigned to 7 must undergo heavy psychological training before being cleared to enter the site. Individuals must score at least 72 points on the Milgram Obedience Examination, be unmarried, have no offspring, and express nothing less than total loyalty to the Foundation. Normal psychological screening procedures against Access 2 disorders are waived so long as the Class D personnel in question has the mental capacity to carry out Procedure 110 Montauk as needed. Personnel who express sympathy towards 7's plight and or express a desire to rescue or sympathize towards 7 will be transferred to another project without delay. Any actual rescue attempts will be met with immediate termination. Personnel who have served on the staff of 7's containment team are not required to divulge that information to others. No official record shall be kept of the names of any staff assigned to 7, nor will said service appear in the personnel files of said staff. While on site, individuals assigned to 7 will be issued concealing helmets with integrated voice changers to protect their identity. On-site staff are not to remove said uniforms in the presence of other staff members. Off-duty hours are to be spent in private quarters alone. 6 Class D personnel are to be assigned to 7 each month for the purpose of carrying out Procedure 110 Montauk. Violent criminals are not to be used for this purpose due to the possibility of accidental fatality during the 110 Montauk process. Special containment procedures. Following the repeated escape and suicide attempts and based on the failure of containment for 1 through 6, containment of 7 has been amended to the following. 231 is to be contained within a soundproof holding cell adjacent to holding cells for 6 Class D personnel assigned for the purposes of Procedure 110 Montauk. Cameras will monitor every edge of the cell at all times and must be manned 24 hours a day. Monitoring equipment must be replaced without delay by psychologically screened staff. Doors will be magnetically locked openable only by positive action by the control and monitoring facility. This includes all doors linking the main holding cell to those of the 6 Class D personnel. 7 is to be kept restrained to a hospital bed at all times except for the purposes of Procedure 110 Montauk. Hydration will be provided through an IV drip. Sorry about that. Feeding will be carried out twice per day through feeding tube by approved medical personnel who have not taken the Hippocratic Oath. Under no circumstances are narcotics, anesthesia, or other unapproved medications to be administered to 7. Procedure 110 Montauk is to be carried out at least once every 24 hours by Class D personnel. During Procedure 110 Montauk, at least one security clearance 4 231 staff member must monitor the procedure by camera at all times, although the sound may be turned off if the vocalizations of 7 become too distressing. Following the procedure, all Class D personnel must return to their holding cells or explosive collars will be detonated. Data expunged per order of 05 blank on blank blank blank. Information moved to Eyes Only Document 231-110 Montauk. Access to 110 Montauk is limited to personnel with Security Clearance 431. Description: 7 is a blank female between blank and blank years of age with data expunged. 1 through 7 were retrieved from blank blank following a police raid on a warehouse owned by an organization called Children of the Scarlet King. See article blank 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 in the blank blank newspaper. Police raid on satanic sex cult Save 7. 24 hours after the rescue, 1, real name blank blank, went into labor pains, giving birth to 3 minutes later to SCP blank blank blank, causing a blank event resulting in over blank confirmed casualties. Foundation personnel immediately took possession of the remaining 231-2-7 and, based on notebooks recovered from the cult, instituted Procedure 110 Montauk to prevent further occurrences. Addendum 231-A. Current status of 231 units. 1. Deceased. Killed during initial recovery operations while giving birth to SCP blank. See casualty report for Event 231 Alpha for more details. 2. Deceased. Killed during attempt to remove fetus of second SCP blank specimen resulting in immediate blank event. See casualty report for Event 231 Bravo for more details. 3. Deceased. Self-terminated following a prolonged period of distress caused by implementation of Procedure 110 Montauk. SCP blank immediately underwent a blank event. See Charlie. 4. Deceased. Attempted to administer SCP-500. Although successful in that all traces of SCP blank were expelled from the system, expelled remains immediately underwent a blank event, causing numerous casualties, including 4 herself. See casualty report 231 Delta for more details. 5. Deceased. Botched application of 110 Montauk resulted in giving birth to blank 1 hour later, which then underwent a blank event. See report for Event 231 Echo and report on destruction of Site 231 Aleph for more details. Recruitment profile of Class D personnel was revised to minimize possibility of a second botched Procedure 110 Montauk. 6. Deceased. Killed during escape attempt aided and abetted by Agent Blank. Blank, who had been exhibiting heightened stress levels due to prolonged exposure to 231, obtained possession of SCP Redacted and attempted to use said weapon to rescue 6 and 7. Agent Blank was killed in the resulting firefight, but a stray round resulted in the termination of 6 as well. Fetus then underwent a blank event. In the wake of this incident, 05 level personnel voted by unanimous decision to amend personnel policies. See Casualty Report 231 Foxtrot for more details. SCP-231-7. As of blank, it is 7 is successfully contained at Site blank. Text of missive by 05 blank. Dear friends, it has come to my attention that recently, certain rumors have surfaced regarding SCP-231. Due to the drop in staff morale, I have decided to address some of the more prevalent points. Yes, Procedure 110 Montauk is as horrible as you've heard, which is why only Class D personnel are authorized to carry it out. Yes, it does involve brutal redacted. No, assignment to 231 is not intended to test your loyalty to the Foundation, your tendencies towards blank, or anything else. No, 231 is not a punishment detail. Yes, there are staff members who have been on 231 and have successfully transferred out by their own request. No, not everyone who's worked on 231 is terminated upon leaving the project. Yes, staff members who have been assigned to 231 are allowed to take a class anti-amnesiac before leaving the project if so desired. Yes, false memories are then implanted. No, none of the supposed methods for recovering or detecting false memories work. Yes, there are some of you who've worked on 231 and don't remember it. No, we have not given up trying to save 7, but research in that field must be carried out with the utmost caution. Based on the increased potency of each subsequent blank event associated with the subsequent SCP blank specimen, there's a strong possibility that 7's event could result in an XK class end-of-the-world scenario. This information is corroborated in notebooks recovered from the cultist. See document 7 Brides, 7 Seals, SCP-231 Adjunct B. No, putting the poor girl out of her misery is not an option, neither is drugging her. She has to be aware of what's going on for 110 Montauk to work. One final note, the Foundation does many distasteful things in the completion of our mission, but our mission is important enough that the price is one we must pay. Containment of SCP-231 is one of our most dangerous duties, not because of any direct danger to ourselves, like SCP-682, but because of the danger to our resolve the danger that our resolve will fail, that we will allow ourselves to either let down our guard due to sympathy for the suffering of an innocent, or that we will allow ourselves to become monsters through the performance of monstrous acts. Just do your jobs and say the philosophizing for the shrink. Sincerely, 05 blank. Addendum 231-C update. 231-7's emotional response to Procedure 110 Montauk appears to be reduced recently, despite proper execution of said procedure, increasing danger of SCP blank going in blank event. 2 options have been proposed. Development of a new containment procedure with higher emotional response than 110 Montauk. Administration of a Class A amnestic to 7, allowing for a return to base emotional response state. Said memory modifications to be administered during execution of Procedure 110 Montauk to maintain heightened emotional state for memory reset. Please advise. Decision. Carry out Option 2 at the first available opportunity. Aftermath. Option 2 was carried out. 231-7's emotional state returned to 100% efficacy. Dr. Blank subsequently committed suicide due to heightened emotional stress. We'll continue analysis of the efficacy of treatment. Dr. Blank. Addendum 231F. Continued analysis of efficacy of treatment. After some analysis, I have determined that it is not necessary to perform memory modification every time Procedure 110 is carried out. In fact, it is better to delay for some time before re-administering the agent. Analysis of Subject 231-7's emotional response indicates the efficacy of Procedure 110 montoxes to peak between the third and fourth performance of the procedure. The dread of anticipation of events seems to heighten emotional response for a time, before familiarity with the procedure begins to lessen the efficacy of treatment. My recommendation is that Class A amnestics be administered once a week during Procedure 110 Mountaug. The counter has been modified accordingly. Well, I guess we're never going to get to find out what the events are, what SCP it is, and what's actually happening, seeing as the image was straight up removed. But it's Keter class, whatever it is. I can only assume that they were giving birth to demons that were freaking out. So, next up is Jack Proton's Atomic Zapper. Which probably isn't Keter, but doesn't sound safe either. Alright, never mind, I guess it is. But it's safe without the batteries installed. SCP-232 is to be kept in a locked safe in the Cognito Hazard Wing of Site-73. When not in use for testing, its batteries are to be removed. When batteries are not installed, it may be handled safely by any authorized staff member. The Foundation is to monitor online auction houses and dealers of vintage toys, and acquire any products with the same model as SCP-232 for testing and disposal. Any other instances of 232 discovered are to be archived appropriately. When the batteries are installed, personnel other than disposable dudes are not to handle 232 for any period longer than necessary to install and remove batteries. Staff members who have been exposed to works in the Jack Proton franchise in any format are not to handle 232 for any period of time while batteries are installed. Disposable dudes carrying 232 for testing purposes are to be monitored at all times and terminated if 232 related behavior should pose a security risk. The copyright, publication, and merchandising rights of the Jack Proton novels and all spin-off media are to be held by Springfield Crown Publishing, a Foundation front company, for the purpose of keeping the works out of print, thereby preventing activation of anomalous properties in any SCP-232 instances that may exist outside containment. In the event of any public occurrences of SCP-232 behavior, the Foundation shall liaise with local law enforcement authorities to recover the artifact and issue Class A amnesiacs to affected parties as appropriate. The Foundation shall encourage world governments to enact extensions to international copyright law as necessary to prevent the Jack Proton franchise from lapsing into the public domain. In the event that any Jack Proton franchise material becomes public domain, DDoS techniques and/or mass deployment of Class E amnesiacs is authorized as appropriate. So, SCP-232 is a mass-produced children's toy of early 1950s manufacture, composed primarily of tin and a battery-powered electric light apparatus, with an exterior painted to resemble a laser gun of the type featured in popular science fiction of the early 20th century. A hidden section at the base of its handle opens to accept two standard AA alkaline batteries. When they have been installed correctly and the trigger is pulled, a small red electric light in the barrel lights up. 232's cognition-affecting properties become active whenever it is picked up and held or carried by a human being while it has working batteries installed. Within 5 to 30 seconds of picking up 232, the person handling it will begin speaking in English regardless of any previous fluency with the language or lack thereof, in a manner resembling the speech patterns of preteen and/or adolescent American youth culture circa 1920 to 1960. Persons so affected will deny that anything is unusual about their manner of speech and will insist that they have always spoken thusly. So I can always assume they say, by golly, gee whiz, jibberty-dibberty-doo, Batman. This behavior continues until approximately 15 to 20 seconds after the test subject is induced to relinquish possession of 232, after which speech pattern returns to normal. In test subjects that have had no exposure to any works from the Jack Proton franchise, 232's effects do not continue past this stage and the subject retains no memory of their behavior while under its influence. Patent information embossed on the handle of 232 and historical analysis of non-anomalous artifacts identical in appearance indicate that 232 is a mass-produced atomic zapper toy produced by the Redacted Corporation from 1953 to 1958 as a licensed merchandising tie-in to Jack Proton Space Cop, a series of young adult science fiction novels by American author M.K. Snyder. Approximately blank units were manufactured and sold during the toy's production run, of which an unknown quantity remains in existence today. The Foundation has acquired 138 units since containment of 232 began, all but 3 of which have shown no anomalous properties under testing. Thorough examination has indicated no discernible differences between anomalous and non-anomalous units. Okay, going to take a minute to see if that's a real thing. Will it redirect me to actual Jack Proton, or will it redirect me back to the Yeah. Okay, so I don't think it's a real thing. It just seems to be an SCP thing. Is M.K. Snyder a real thing? Or a person? Okay, well, there's a Mark Snyder. M.K. Snyder, avid fanfiction reader. And then Mark Snyder again. This is a creative license, but blah, 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 blah. Okay, so they're probably not real either. The Jack Proton series, consisting primarily of 15 novels and several dozen short stories written between 1940 and Snyder's death in 1973, revolve around the eponymous. I've never actually had to say this word out loud before. Major John Patrick Jack Proton. I don't know how Jonathan becomes Jack. An officer of the Galactic Police Department in a 27th century setting where the human race has colonized the entirety of the Earth's solar system. The setting is typical of early 20th century juvenile science fiction and relies heavily on soft sci-fi depictions of space travel, common in literature of the time, including the existence of intelligent life on planets within the solar system, a breathable atmosphere on the moon and other heavenly bodies, faster than light travel without relativistic complications, and sapient artificial intelligence and computers based on vacuum tube technology. The novels were additionally adapted into a nationally syndicated radio program from 47 to 52, a television series aired by the NBC network from 53 to 54, and a black and white movie released to theaters in 56. The Jack Proton franchise bears no demonstrable anomalous properties itself and may be read, viewed, or listened to safely, provided that the person doing so does not come into contact with SCP-232. And subjects who have previously read, watched, or listened to any installments of the Jack Proton franchise, 232's secondary effect begins to manifest itself after approximately 90 to 120 seconds of physical contact with the toy. During this stage, the test subject's memories and personality are radically altered, to the extent that the subject believes him or herself to be a resident of the fictional 27th century setting of the Jack Proton novels. Test subjects in this stage refuse to answer to their given names and will, during interviews, describe life stories and career experiences of life in the 27th century which are internally consistent with themselves and with canonical details about the setting, often describing themselves as close associates of Jack Proton or other major characters featured in the franchise. Polygraph examinations given to test subjects in this state have consistently indicated that the test subjects believe these accounts to be true. In the third and final stage of 232 exposure, occurring approximately 30 to 45 minutes after the first contact, test subjects begin to experience severe sensory hallucinations to the effect that they are now perceive the world around them to be the fictional setting of the Jack Proton franchise. In this state, test subjects almost invariably believe that they are members of Jack Proton's Junior Action Squad and have been assigned a mission of utmost interplanetary security, where researchers and security personnel of the Foundation are involved in or attempting to prevent them from completing. Though attempts to neutralize Foundation personnel with 232 have invariably proven futile, test subjects have been noted to resort to physical violence on occasion. Persons afflicted by the later stages of 232 exposure will resist any attempts to remove 232 from their person and, if separated from it, will attempt to recover it by any means available to them. Effects of the later stages of exposure wear off gradually over a period of approximately 3 to 6 hours after it is removed from their subject's person. And approximately blank percent of tests involving long-term exposure, test subjects have retained memories of their artificial persona after dissipation of the effect, resulting in cognitive dissonance and associated psychological impairments. 232 came to the Foundation's attention on blank following the arrest of Martin Blank, a retired steelworker living in redacted Pennsylvania for disorderly conduct following a fray at a shopping mall. Blank, who insists on referring to himself as Space Cadet Max Mars, was taken into custody after confronting several mall patrons and brandishing 232, demanding to know the location of the Phobos Ruby, an artifact the theft of which, from the Martian Museum of History, drives the plot of the novella Murder on the I.O. Express. During debriefing prior to Amnesiac's therapy, Blank stated that he had owned one of the toys as a child and had been a fan of the series, and purchased 232 from an online auction site for nostalgic value because he had so much fun playing cops and aliens with it in his youth. Let's see. The radio program is the only version of the Jack Proton franchise to feature intelligent robots capable of speech. A robot sidekick originally planned for the television series was scrapped due to budget concerns. Novels published after the radio program was introduced to acknowledge the existence of robots, but stated that the building of sapient robots had been restricted by the robotics laws instituted by the Space Congress, and none are ever directly introduced to the reader. Let's see, interview logs. Yeah, I don't think we need to read those. So, next up is the 23-sided polyhedron, which sounds like a D23, but probably isn't. What? What? How was that Keter? Okay. Guess I gotta put on the serious Keter voice again. Let me drink some water first. Come back, water! Okay, the bottle tried to escape. SCP-233 is to be kept within a cubical vanadium-lined container, dimensions 23 by 23 by 23. The unit of measure is relevant. A 23-meter safe zone is to be established around the object. No Class D personnel older or younger than 23 years of age are allowed to be within the safe zone. For optimal results, Class D personnel with birthdays falling on the 23rd of the month should be used. No firearms other than those chambered for a special purpose .2323 caliber rounds are to be allowed within the containment chamber. Shift changes will occur at 23 minutes past the hour, with the final shift occurring at 23:23 Greenwich Mean Time exactly. Under no circumstances are redacted millimeter ammunition Class D personnel born in the month of redacted or on the redacted or 20 redacted of the month, or any redacted sided object to be brought within the 23-meter safe zone. Personnel are cautioned to take special care at redacted minutes past the hour, especially redacted hours, as this is the time period during which the object is most active. For best results, the 23-meter safe zone should be cleared of all personnel during that time period. SCP-233 is a 23-sided polyhedron, each face being made up of both an equilateral triangle and a straight line simultaneously. Because of the space-time altering nature of the object, the exact physical makeup of the object cannot be emulated in 3-dimensional or 2-dimensional form. 233 has the unusual property of altering the laws of mathematics in its vicinity, causing rounding errors to occur unless calculated using a base 23 system. Mathematical calculations carried out in base 23, however, have the benefit of being carried out at 23 times the normal speed. For this reason, destruction of the item has been postponed pending possible integration into data expunged. The difficulty of converting binary information into base 23 mathematics aside, the device has already shown its value to the organization. See Report 234 Redacted by Dr. Nana Redacted regarding her unusual solution to the unified field theory. Unfortunately, SCP-233 appears to have a particularly violent effect upon occurrences of the number redacted occurring within its safe zone. See Report regarding death of Dr. Nana Redacted on date redacted. Chemical breakdown of the affected object proceeds at a rapid rate. Direct contact results in immediate destruction of the object in question by breakdown into component atoms within 0.23 seconds. One note: SCP-233 appears to be triggered not by the actual physical properties of the object in question in any empirical sense, but by the perceptions of the nearby observers. For instance, it is safe to handle 233 using a 2.74 meter long pole, so long as no observers within the danger zone perceive said pole as being redacted feet in length. The reason for this is unknown, but the observer effect recorded in classical quantum physics may be involved. See Report 77 Heisenberg. Addendum 233A. Upon the recommendation of Dr. A. Clef, the research committee has petitioned to redesignate the object as SCP-2323. Though this would place the item outside the standard numbering scheme, 233's mathematical nature requires that utmost precautions be taken regarding all numbering schemes involving data related with the project. This was dramatically illustrated during Incident Redacted, during which the object's accidental contact with a redacted volt battery used to power a personal music device caused an approximately redacted 1000% increase in the object's range of effect to 232.32 meters or kilometers, resulting in deaths of the entire home team at a nearby AAA League baseball game, said game being at the top of the redacted inning at the time, and the destruction of all computer files containing information on SCP-233's interaction with the number redacted. For the safety of all personnel, future reference to the number redacted in conjunction with 233 is to be avoided at all costs. Addendum 233B. Under no circumstances are pregnant females allowed to be within the safe zone. Interesting. Okay, so next up is the extra-dimensional fish, which is Euclid. If this had been Keter 2, I'd have been done. Okay, so SCP-234 is studied at Containment Area 6234, which encompasses the 300-meter radius red zone of 234. The main laboratory building within Red Zone is built as an open-air structure with no doors or closed windows. No closed containers or spaces of any kind are allowed within the Red Zone of 234. Any space which inadvertently becomes closed within the Red Zone is to be declared a Class 2 dimensional/implosion hazard and must be remotely destroyed on-site following mandatory evacuation of the laboratory area. What? Personnel trapped within a closed space are to be considered lost. Experimentation with 234 may only be performed with excess prior permission from at least 2 level 4 personnel. Express, not excess. Experimentation which introduces closed spaces into the red zone of 234 may not exceed 1 liter in volume and must be treated as a Class 3-dimensional/implosion hazard. Description: 234 is a species of organism of presumed extra-dimensional origin resembling fish, measuring approximately 25 millimeters in length. 234 does not appear to have any eyes or light-sensitive organs, but navigates via a highly evolved sense of echolocation. It maintains buoyancy via a gas-filled organ similar to a swim bladder which allows it to float in air, and exhibits behavior consistent with an omnivorous scavenger organism, though to date it has not been observed consuming any terrestrial organic matter. 234 appears to only be able to exist within a closed air-filled space and will spontaneously come into existence whenever such a closed space exists or is brought within the red zone, an area of approximately 300-meter radius in a remote area of the mountains near Redacted. When a 234 specimen is startled, killed, brought out of the red zone, or the closed space containing the specimen is breached, all matter, including air, within the closed space is immediately extra-dimensionally evacuated with sufficient force to cause a catastrophic implosion within the surrounding area. 234 was discovered following a series of incident reports and disappearances of backcountry hikers near Redacted. A Foundation survey team went to the area and inadvertently created a closed space with a standard adverse weather camping tent, whose subsequent implosion caused the disappearance of, resulted in the disappearance of 1 research personnel, severe injuries to an additional 2 agents. Research is ongoing into how 231 is capable of extra-dimensional movement. Experimentation is hampered by the inability to study it outside of closed spaces, and attempts to trace evacuated objects via the use of tracking devices yielded no results. To date, objects evacuated by specimens of 234 have never been found again. Addendum: Incident Log 234-31. On blank blank blank, Dr. Blank accidentally introduced a closed space into the red zone of 234 in the form of a sealed coffee thermos. Upon opening the container, the resulting implosion startled 4 additional 234 instances within the testing area, causing a chain reaction that inflicted severe damage to the laboratory as well as causing injuries to 6 research personnel. Post-incident photographs of the remains of Dr. Blank are kept on file as a warning to research personnel assigned to 231 as to the consequences of carelessness during experimentation. Dang. Next up is phonographic records, which is safe. Okay. Currently, 4 instances of 235 have been recovered. All of them are to be kept in a secure storage locker within Reliquary Research and Containment Site 76. Authorization of 2 Clearance Level 2 staff is required to remove an instance of 235 from storage for research and testing purposes. So what is it? 235 appear to be shellac phonograph records of the type commonly produced in the late 1920s. Each instance has a white label with the title in black lettering. Each record contains a different song. They are as follows. Instance 1. After you get what you want, you don't want it. By Van and Schneck, 1920. Number of skips per play, 4. 2. Dark Was the Night, by Blind Willie Johnson. 3. Who's Sorry Now, by Marion Harris. And Unknown Unknown. 4 has no label and contains a song that has not been identified. The tune has no lyrics and is a slow, mournful dirge. Each instance of 235 creates an identical phenomenon when played at speeds between 77 and 79 RPM. All objects within a certain distance of the recording, correlated with the volume at which it plays, appears to freeze in place whenever the record skips, or is unable to play a section of the recording. This freeze lasts for a set duration, approximately blank times the amount of time skipped. Those affected do not perceive the freeze and will continue as they were before it began unless outside stimulus is introduced to alert them to the gap in time. During the freeze, all motion in the affected area stops completely. Objects thrown or falling will simply remain in midair. Individuals do not breathe or blink, and even chemical reactions such as fire will simply pause in a manner visually similar to pausing a movie. During this time, any individual outside the range of effect, hereby known as an observer, may enter the area and interact with affected objects. Any object or individual willfully contacted, either directly or via another object by an observer, will resume normal behavior. That is, objects will fall, individuals will begin moving, breathing, and thinking, and chemical reactions will resume. All others remain frozen as before until either touched by an observer or the effect ends. This unfreezing effect appears to be entirely subjective. Only objects that the observer touches or influences intentionally will resume normal activity. Common phenomena such as rain and wind will not have any effect on the area and will behave as though all objects and individuals in the affected area are rigid and non-absorbent. Instances of 235 and the devices playing them cannot be interacted with during a freeze. All forces up to and including plastic explosives have proven unable to affect either device while in this state. Neither copies nor recordings of 235 exhibit any of the anomalous effects displayed by 235. It is believed that the effects of 235 are caused by an anomaly specific to the records themselves and is not attributable to the contents of the records. 235-1 was found in 1940-something. It was discovered atop a record player found at the scene of the murder of Redacted, who was at the time president of the Blank Corporation. 2 was found still spinning at a wedding between data expunged. Both bride and groom were found murdered by single gunshot wounds to the head with no witnesses, despite both individuals being discovered dead on the dance floor at the reception. 3 was found following reports of a time-traveling tune at the time in the hands of several college students who were administered Class B amnesiacs and released. 4 was discovered firsthand by Foundation agents investigating blank blank, believed to be a member of Redacted. Agents discovered him dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. On his desk was 4 with a note reading, "This one has served us well, but is nearly full. You know what to do." 235-1. An additional anomalous property was discovered while Dr. Blank was attempting to discern the properties of 235's effect. Dr. Blank ordered a disposable dude under the influence of 235 shot and killed from a distance. While this in and of itself produced little useful data, it was noted on the next playthrough that the record skipped in a location where it had previously played smoothly. Further testing confirmed that each time an individual dies while affected by 235, the instance that produced the effect is damaged slightly, producing another section of the song that is likely to skip. Multiple deaths during a single skip appear to correlate with the new skip being longer in duration, but a consistent pattern has not emerged. Time to see if any of these songs are real. Well, there's a Marilyn Monroe version. Artist in the year, Van and Schneck. Okay, Van and Schneck. I spelled that wrong. Okay, let's check it out. I wonder if this is public domain or if YouTube's going to get mad at me.
Honey dear, something's wrong with you, I fear. It's getting harder to please you every year.
Okay, that song is slightly uncomfortable to listen to. Next up is Dark Was the Night by Blind Willie Johnson. I mean, I think we've proven that they're probably all real songs. Blind Willie Johnson.
So I get an Epic plan in any phone.
And I get this one free.
All with unlimited gigs.
Bro.
It's a BOGO free phone, bro.
Time for a switch. Switch to Boost, and for a limited time, you can buy one phone and get one free. Plus, get 5 lines for only $100 per month, bro.
Well, that sure was an ad that just happened. I can only assume this song is public domain, otherwise why would they have let that happen? Hey, it's Hugh Laurie singing! Are there words or copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allow for fair use? Okay. Okay, then what was the third one? Who's Sorry Now by Marion Harris. Record sounds. Okay, so that happened. And we will never be able to find out what 4 is because 4 is probably not real. So, next up is Mimic Crabs. Plankton! Okay, so. Another Keter? What is up with the 200s? Why are there so many Keters in here? And why are they so weird? Okay, I guess it's time for more serious Keter voice then. And then after this one, I don't know, man. I'll probably try to do 237, hope it's not Keter, and then stop there. And in the next episode, we'll get to the harmless kitty. So, any and all materials leaving the containment area are to be scanned for any contamination by 236. Any objects showing contamination by 236 are to be immediately returned to the containment area and cleared of contamination. Personnel leaving the containment area must submit to a full physical examination and X-ray. No objects are to be left in the containment area without personnel present. Any objects appearing in the containment area are not to be touched until cleared by supervising personnel. Blast doors are to be open only to allow personnel in and out of the containment area. No sudden movement or aggressive action of any kind is allowed in the containment area. Containment area is to be kept as dark as possible, with night vision goggles recommended for all interacting personnel. Should traditional lighting be necessary, lights must be turned on remotely and a waiting period of 1 hour is to be observed before entry is allowed. Description: SCP-236 appears to be a swarm of near-microscopic crabs. Individuals match no known form of crustacean and elements of their physiology appear to point to an artificial origin. See document blank. SCP-236 appears to operate under a form of collective intelligence or a hive mind. This intelligence appears to grow when individual 236 are in close proximity and dissipate when they are divided. Large swarms appear to exhibit predatory intelligence and become significantly more aggressive than individuals. Swarms show aptitude with problem-solving, encircling tactics, and stealth. In addition, swarms appear able to take on the physical aspects and appearance of inanimate objects such as doors, chairs, or even complex patterns such as those found in paintings for extended periods of time. This mimicry is near perfect under casual observation and requires detailed observation to detect. Swarms will sometimes even destroy existing objects and replace them in what would be an attempt at better disguise. 236 can create additional individuals from any organic matter. This includes wood, cotton, or other materials derived from an organic source. 236 units appear to remove small portions of matter with their pincers, consume it, then lay small spherical eggs which hatch into new members after 10 minutes. Juvenile 236 look identical to adults but are smaller in size and lack the chemicals used in their defensive response. Juveniles reach full adult size after 6 hours. SCP-236 individuals appear to fear light, rapid movement, and loud noises. This fear is reduced in proportion to the number of units in a swarm, but even large collectives can be startled by a sudden sound or bright light. SCP-236 that are startled while mimicking an object will rapidly break apart into individual units, which will then scatter and hide. Swarm regrouping can take up to 24 hours. When cornered or unable to escape quickly, 236 units will initiate their defensive response. This entails a unit raising its pincers and then detonating with an explosion equivalent to 9.07 kilograms of C4 explosive. Initial research suggests that this is the result of an internal chemical reaction involving the mixing of 3 normally inert chemicals. Collection of these chemicals has been problematic due to the relatively minute size of the storage chambers and the likelihood of startling 236 during the procedure. 236 will use humans or any other living beings as a resource, provided the swarm is of a sufficient size. Moderate-sized swarms can convert a whole human being in less than 5 minutes. Individual SCP-36 have also been observed entering the human body, typically while the subject is asleep, and begin to consume it from the inside out. This behavior, coupled with mimicry and the defensive response, make 236 very difficult to detect and contain effectively. While SCP-236 has not been observed to mimic organic life, the possibility exists for SCP-236 to develop this behavior, notably during testing with 2366 when 236 mimicked a brown bear and began to exhibit increased predatory behavior and data expunged. Such formations are to be immediately reported and testing area cleared immediately. Okay. And self-made man, which is a normal term, but it's the SCP Foundation, so it's probably going to be freaky. The recovered components of 237-1 have been individually shrink-wrapped and are to be stored separately. Laser grids are established around each component to detect any incipient signs of activity. The individual instances of 237-2 are contained in separate, proportionally reduced humanoid containment cells, with supervised interaction between instances being permitted contingent on good behavior. Personnel supervising interaction between instances of 237-2 are to be fluent in spoken Japanese. All interactions are to be recorded and filmed. Instances of 237-2 will periodically request supplies of resin and clay with which to repair damage to themselves. To de-incentivize self-harm and prevent stockpiling, these requests are to be fulfilled no more often than once a month, and any supplies not used in repairing damage are to be removed. Standard data mining bots have been introduced into the law enforcement IT infrastructure throughout the Kansai region of Japan to maintain surveillance for uncontained instances of 237.2. Standard internet monitoring bots have been set to watch video sharing sites for further copies of 237.1's videos. All such copies are to be taken down via Prenda protocols. Okay. 237 is the collective designation of the physical remains of 237.1 and of the set instances of 237.2 which it created. Prior to being taken into Foundation custody, 1 appeared to be a human male of Japanese ethnicity with falsified identity documents indicating an age of 24 years. It manifested the anomalous ability to endow instances of 2 with sapient sensoria and independent mobility. I wonder what sensoria means. The 16 instances of 2 are clay and polyurethane statuettes which were anomalously given awareness, sight, hearing, and independent mobility by 1. 14 of the instances have displayed the ability to speak Japanese. Of these 14, 3 have also displayed the ability to speak English. While being supported to Site-12 for long-term containment, 1 abruptly collapsed into several dozen disconnected slabs of clay and polyurethane resin, similar in composition to the instances of 2. However, where the resin and clay mixture in instance of 2 is homogeneous and featureless, and 1 the mixture is shaped into replica human organs that are accurate to the sub-millimeter level. List of the instances of 2 in custody. A 23 cm tall female in a French maid uniform holding a deck broom that can't be removed. 19 cm tall human female in a swimsuit has cat ears, 1 broken, a tail broken, and paws. 25 cm tall human female in a leather motorcyclist gear with a zipper open past its navel. Left forearm missing. 27 cm human male in samurai armor. Face is featureless, communicates by writing Japanese characters with its sword, non-removable. Human infant, nude, no genitalia. Has not displayed ability to speak, but is fluent in Japanese Sign Language. 30 cm tall human male with flinched skin and visible organs. Head is on backwards as a result of attempts at repair. 22 cm tall human adolescent female in a swimsuit. Has disproportionately large anime-style eyes, non-functional. 24 cm tall human female in office clothes, permanently in a seated position. 15 cm tall emperor penguin. That. 22 cm tall human female in gothic Lolita outfit. Back of head is missing. 21 cm tall human female gymnast outfit. Feet are unfinished. 24 cm tall female in samurai armor. 12 cm tall anthropomorphic insectoid with top hat, compound eyes, and 4 articulated hands. Produce speech sounds by rubbing its limbs together. Ugh. 10 cm tall anthropomorphic rodent cartoon character. Has disfigured itself. 24 cm tall skeletal creature. Does not match the skeletal structure of any known species. 30 cm tall demonic humanoid. Right arm held on with duct tape, left arm missing. Psychological profiles of the 2 instances are similar to a statistically improbable degree. However, rather than being a further indication of an anomaly, this is believed to be a result of their common origin. Acquisition log. 1 was discovered after it uploaded several videos to the video sharing site redacted.jp, in which it demonstrated its anomaly. A mobile task force was dispatched to the residence, where it was taken into custody along with the instances of 2. Excerpt from interview log 237-411-QL. Interview subject 237-29 Penguin. Why did they interview the penguin? Oh. Because it's talking. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not human, well, humanoid, but I think I have a clearer view of our situation than the others. Oh? They're still waiting for him to come back for us. They're expecting him to rescue us, free us, repair us, all that. And you aren't? Look. I love them as much as the rest of them, but you've had us here for what, 3 years? 4 next month. Nearly 4 years. And he hasn't tried anything. No raids, no infiltration, nothing. And I can't believe he just abandoned us. At first I thought it was just because he was your prisoner. I can't confirm or deny that. Doctor, we know you caught him. We saw you catch him that first day before you caught us. It's just that most of the others think he escaped somehow. And Office SCP-237-28 and Skinny 237-26 think that what you caught was a decoy. But you don't believe that. Oh, no. I wish I believed he was smart enough to make a decoy, but he was, well, I suppose he wasn't stupid, otherwise I wouldn't be smart, but I suppose he was naive. Or naive? Naive, it's from the French. Ah, thank you, naive. That's what he was, yes. And now he's dead, isn't he? Again, I can't confirm or deny, right? Honestly, though, it's the only explanation that makes sense. You let us see each other, but not him. You let us, them, have Clay for repairs, but we have to do it ourselves instead of having him do it? He's dead. I hope he didn't suffer. I can't comment on that. I'm really, really sorry. You understand. Yeah, I do. Honestly, we're probably better off with you than him. How so? You saw his videos. You saw how quickly he could make us. Yes? So why aren't there more of us? There were more of us, but he unmade them. He kept getting bored with us, or unsatisfied, dissatisfied. I believe either word will do here. He kept being dissatisfied with us, and when he got dissatisfied with one of us, he'd mash them down in the goop, and then start over. That's what happened to Dog, and Clown, and Nun, and Princess. They're just gone. You realize Baby is the third baby. The first one was a girl, but then he said he felt bad about putting so much detail to the parts of a naked baby girl, so he mashed her up and made a boy. That didn't last either, same reason. Finally, he decided babies don't need gender, so that's Baby now. I had no idea. That does explain a lot. Thank you. And then there's Faceless, and Gothic, and Gymnast. If he would have just taken the extra time to finish with their details before giving them life, well, I can't blame him. Why not? No, you don't understand. Earlier I said I can't believe he just abandoned us? I mean that literally. I can't. Just like I can't blame him. None of us can. Interesting. I would totally read a story that was about these clay dudes. It sounds like it would be interesting. But, this is a good stopping point. It's been 46 minutes. I usually aim for somewhere between 45 to 48 minutes to stop these. So, this has been episode 58 of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we're going to go back to the Resurrection A9 stories. I still don't know whether or not I should read that one that talks about the things. I'll probably browse it before I start recording, and if it's awful, I'm skipping it. So, in the meantime, thanks for watching. This has been Anachi Sasuke. If you liked it, a like and a subscribe would be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things. And since I did a couple of YouTube videos during this episode, that's why there's not background music. So, thanks again for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.